I want to do an Information Society style electronica song that samples Mr. Spock's Mind Meld dialogue for the Mind Meld theme.
That's epic.
My mind to your mind. My thoughts to your thoughts.
So I'm on
my
the
responses to your
office
responses.
computer. It has a 21.5 inch screen. I'm trying to take notes. Look at you, wonderful people, and fill in a Google form.
You know,
you are allowed
I'm
to
just
use
giving
a
up
piece of
looking
paper.
You guys.
You could use the more space setting in displays.
Oh, look at this guy, Mr. Macworld here with the tips.
It's like he knows Mac things.
I'm doing that. Can I do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme thing?
I'm just going to minimize you people. That's all.
So I regret
to
I'm just going to minimize you people.
I regret to inform the Mac Genius on the screen to my right that the aforementioned temporary office computer is not a Retina display.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was a Windows computer. That was
right.
Getting riled up.
I don't know which is worse.
It's Ubuntu
honestly.
Linux.
Oh, Jason. Oh, Jason. I've heard Jason.
Okay, sorry, I had to go through the 3 stages of monkey. There.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready.
It's a requirement.
This is a late 2013 iMac with an SSD, and it's hacked to run Monterey.
Wow. How many mice do you give it?
I give it 3 loving cups. I don't know.
Podcasting.
Yeah, I'm just making sure everything's working. There's some people on the YouTube stream.
Is it no longer private?
It's no longer private. It's fixed.
Thank goodness for that.
YouTube into the world.
And audio stream into the audio streaming world.
All right. I'm recording. You're recording. Everything is great. Well, everything is everything.
Everything
Okay.
is here.
Recording too.
We're proud.
Everything is awesome, Tony.
Well, okay. Everyone gets to have their own version of everything. So yeah. Nerds, thank you for tuning in to this bootleg / live stream. We are going to play Mind Meld. This is our fifth Mind Meld session ever. Cool. So it'll be Mind Meld episode V. Yes, Jason. You had a question? You had a question? Is that why you're raising your hand?
Yes. How many fingers am I holding up?
You're holding up 5 fingers in a Vulcan salute.
It's like my live.
Yeah. You don't get any points for that, just so we're clear.
No.
You have all played Mind Meld before,
but
it has been a while. And if there's anything I've learned about you people, it's that you don't learn. So we will make sure that you know how to play.
Listen, Tony, how dare
the
you?
learning guy.
Tony,
Kathy, I want to remind you, you're on my side in this one.
Tony, we're Mind Meld inspectors, right?
But you're implying that I remember how to scorekeep, which is, really optimistic.
That is always the densest part of the game, and the first 2 rounds do take us much longer than all the later rounds, where we figure out how Mind Meld actually works.
But I took notes last time, so maybe it'll be better.
You've all got the answer submission form as a Google form handy. You will use that again and again for your answers. You will be asked about your answers after you put them into the form as we chat about things. And so you will want to either screenshot that or copy and paste stuff onto a thing or write them down or just remember them. I mean, we have a record of them, so you can't lose them, but basically we will ask you to share your answers as we chat about them. I guess we'll get into the points in a more chatty way on the game, but you get points for matching what other people say. Does not matter whether you're right or not. There is no penalty for correctness. It's getting what other people get. And then the fancy bonus points is that if every word of your 5 that you put in or term matches to something that other people put, we call that a meld. You get 3 bonus points for that. And if you get the exact same list of 5 terms that another person does, we call that a full meld, and you get 3 and then 2 on top of that, so 5 total. So that's real great. If you get that puts you into an early lead. I will say, you can't you can't string together disjointed ideas with punctuation. That was a thing someone did, and now we don't let people do that anymore.
Yep.
So, you know,
They know
They
what
ruined
they
it
did.
for all of us.
They ruined it for everybody. So that's your basic mechanics of Mind Meld. I'll remind folks who are listening to the live stream or listening to the bootleg that Mind Meld is a lovely game to play at home. The home version of Mind Meld is free. It exists entirely inside your brain.
But if you would like
There's
to
no
donate to
board
the
version?
creator of Mind Meld, visit
Give
Hey,
Tony money.
give Tony money.
Dot fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Tony, Mind Meld
I'm putting that
Kickstarter.
there.
Let's make it happen.
You know,
Yeah.
someday
I'm gonna make
It-
your whole life
Yeah.
Kickstarters.
Is that what it is now? This
All
this what-
Kickstarters all the time.
I love this being unemployed and just begging for money constantly. It's a great way to
I
live.
thought you were a professional game show host, Tony.
Tony,
Eh,
Tony, look, I prefer not to phrase my job in that way, but
okay.
reference acknowledged.
So yeah. Well, I think if we're all good, we should start the show proper, unless anyone has any technical or logistical questions before we do so. You may wish to have a beverage while you're playing. That's an option too.
Yes.
Brian looks like they have a question, but maybe just has. a
Oh no,
curious
that's just
face.
me.
That's just your
Just
inquisitive,
thinking.
yeah, inquisitive face.
He's working
All
on his
right.
thinking face so early.
Excellent.
Whose mind will I meld with today?
You want to meld with as many minds as possible. So
All
Um,
the great minds.
Don't be choosy.
yeah.
Great minds meld alike.
Mm.
All right. Here we go. I'm gonna try and you know what? I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some caffeine.
Ooh.
Talk amongst
Oh.
yourselves.
Wow, he's mixing it up right away.
Do,
Here
I
we
know.
go already,
do,
and
do,
now
do, 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 do.
These young people who can drink caffeine after like
What the
2
hell?
p.m.
I mean,
I
and
know.
I shouldn't be, but I have an old cup of coffee sitting on my desk because I forgot to
Nice.
get proper beverages.
I was like,
I
why are
melt.
my energy levels weird? And that's right, because usually when I do this, I'm slamming caffeine.
Slam.
Slam it.
Every brand, slam it.
And welcome to the meld.
All right.
Totally extreme.
Totally extreme.
Meld.
This
Now is
game
the
show
time of
brought to you
sprockets when we
by
meld.
off-brand Mountain Dew. That ask for it by name.
Don't
What
ask
is
for
the
it
name?
by
We don't
name.
know.
Available behind lesser Walmarts everywhere.
Yes.
Right next to the Dr. Perky.
Yep.
Oh, the-
It's Mountain something.
All right. See, I got it. That's that mind meld energy that we want.
Now I wish I had
Yes.
a Mr. Pibb.
Yep.
Nice.
Welcome back to Mind Meld on the Incomparable Network. It's me, Tony Sindelar, your host, and joining me, as always, for Mind Meld, the game about being the same, it's my scorekeeper, Kathy Campbell. Hi, Kathy.
Hello, Tony.
So, Kathy, we've done this 4 times before. We're going to do it for a 5th time for reasons. It's going to be, I mean, it could just be the 2 of us, but that would be kind of a sad game. Have you procured for us some players?
I convinced 5 wonderful humans to come and allow us to torture them by
I'll be the
melding their
judge of
minds. To start with, first up, her name rhymes with Jean. Nope, that's
I mean,
Yeah.
It does.
You're not wrong.
lots of 70s rock songs that would be accurate.
Yep.
Our first tautology introduction of the night.
Mhm.
Let's try this again, shall we? Her name rhymes with machine. It's Jean.
Woo! I'm happy to be here. The game where infinite diversity and infinite combinations is the wrong strategy.
Is punished.
Yes, exactly.
Take that, Vulcans.
Their name rhymes with lion. It's Brian.
Rawr, I guess.
I'm MGM production.
His name rhymes with basin. It's Jason.
In your face. And thank you, Kathy. Hello.
Her name rhymes with deli. It's Shelly.
I would really like a roasty sandwich right now.
And lastly, but not leastly, his name rhymes with flip. It's Chip.
Wow.
You have made me relive every elementary school mocking my name moment of ever.
Oh, but it
Mm.
wasn't mocking. It was said with love. And last minute, oh no, I have to think of something creative to introduce the players. So you're
Perfect.
welcome.
It read just like a heavily scripted and heavily rehearsed introduction. So these are all returning players, I note. So these are people that played Mind Meld and were willing to come back, which is says something about
Yeah.
something. Unclear what that is. And one of our players, Jason Snell, you're returning winner. So if you lose today, no one will ever remember that win. It will be lost in the sands of time. So
Just like
500 is a
low
perfectly
definition.
respectable batting average to have. 500 is
Yep.
fine.
I assume that is a reference to curling. So Mind Meld is the game about being the same. I'm going to give you a topic or category. You've got a form that you're going to fill in your top 5 choices to it. It does not matter whether your answers are right or wrong. So if I ask you for a vegetable and you put in lemur, the lemur is not wrong. So much as it's wrong and will not get any points if no one else puts lemur. But if a lot of people are just thinking about lemurs and that overpowers their vegetable thoughts, you could pick up some sweet, sweet points with your lemurs. This is a false scenario I've constructed for the purposes of explaining the game. This will not help you. You get a point.
Or will it?
Yeah, you get points for matching. You get bonus points if all of your terms match, and you get super bonus points, a full meld, if your list of 5 items matches somebody else's list of 5 items. Order of items does not matter. So again, it's not correct. It doesn't matter if it's correct. It only matters if other people do it. So I'm going to give you your round 1 topic. I'm doing a little bit of a throwback here to the cult hit game show that died too soon, 7 or C. I want you to give me your top 5 or your most popular 5. I'm
Top
your
5.
5 that you think other people are going to say of the 7 deadly sins. Again, you don't need to actually know what the 7 deadly sins are. You just need to think, what do other people think the 7 deadly sins? Or what do you think that they think that you think that they think that you think that they think the 7 deadly sins are?
Oh man, I'm glad you didn't do the 7 C's because I think that would have been
I did not.
more difficult.
I was looking at my past categories for 7 or C, and I was not confident in people's abilities to name any of the 7 C's. I feel like some people will get a couple of the canonical 7 sins, and they might, hopefully they'll match with other people.
Indeed.
In our last game, Kathy, I think we had no full melds, so that was
yeah. This will be interesting to see if we start off with any full melds.
Yeah. As always, Kathy Campbell is our scorekeeper, and we'll have final arbitration as to whether any terms are close enough to count or are distinct and do not count. It looks like we've got answers from 4 out of 5 players. We are waiting for Brian Hamilton. Oh, and we've got these. All right.
No more.
I will also remind you that there are, to add to the scoring and make it even more confusing, there are bonus points that you can get every round. We call these chaos points, where Tony and Kathy each have the opportunity to add or subtract a point from your overall score. All right, we are going to start with Jean, in the order that you were introduced. Jean, what do you got for us vis-a-vis some of the 7 deadly sins?
Well, starting with my favorite, sloth, gluttony, second favorite, I would say, greed, lust, and avarice.
Okay, very good. Those all seem like, pretty good classic sins. Brian Hamilton, how about you?
This was me furiously trying to remember the movie 7 because I could not remember a single one of these deadly sins. And I got a few. I got lust, pride, wrath, gluttony, and not recording your side of the podcast because I couldn't think of a 5th.
I believe that is the final one in the movie 7. I don't know. It's been a while since I saw it. Back when I saw it, you had to flip over the DVD halfway through the movie.
What's in the Dropbox?
Yeah. So, all right. Jason, tell us about your 7 deadly sins.
Let's see if I can remember them all since I forgot to write them down.
I can read them to you.
Anger, lust, greed, sloth, and I was tempted to write gluttony, but I think I wrote lemur.
You did not write lemur.
Did I write gluttony?
only.
Did I submit gluttony?
You submitted avarice.
Oh, avarice. I submitted avarice. Oh,
Mm.
sweet. That's good.
Mm.
I was
Good.
all right. Nice. I thought about submitting lemur, but I went with avarice instead. It's the
I
classic
mean, you
lemur
did a
avarice.
sloth instead.
Yeah.
Sloth
I did,
or
right.
lemur.
Sloth.
Some sort of creature with a
I don't
long
want
tail.
to. Yeah, I don't want to overdo it with the mammals.
You
Mhm.
came to sloth eventually.
Let's keep moving. Shelley, what do you got for us? 7 deadly sins.
I have gluttony, sloth, greed, lust, and for some reason I was sure that avarice and greed were the same thing, and I blanked and I wrote jealousy.
So Shelley, I'm just going to tell you they are the same
They
thing.
are the same. They are
Right?
the same. That's
You
why I was
are
going to go with
right.
lemur, but
You are
I mean,
right.
being right brings me no joy.
But
I
don't
couldn't
care.
think of any others.
Yeah.
If it's not a point, I don't care.
Yep. And last but not least, Chip, how you doing? What do you got for us?
I'm pretty good. Do synonyms count? Or
It's up to Kathy Campbell to decide final scoring. So
the whims of capricious fate?
Yeah.
I remembered I remembered as many as I did because they were the 7 deadly enemies of man in the subway tunnel for the old wizard Shazam. Lust, gluttony, sloth, greed, pride.
Oh, happy Pride. So let's see here. Looks like a lot of overlap. And it looks like I was just mentioned the ones that were not overlap. So this is gonna be a high scoring round for everybody. Brian, not recording your side of the podcast is not one of the popular 7 deadly sins, at least according to this group. If you play Mind Meld with other people, you may get different.
I'm just gonna stop my recording and see what Jason does to me.
You will
Jason
be
doesn't
murdered.
care.
I don't know
Steven,
the
though.
podcast.
Yeah,
Steven's problem, and maybe
Steven
Kathy and
Scherpansky will come for you in the
Tony,
night. And Shelley, you put jealousy, which nobody else did. And I should mention, it looks like some of you did miss some of the canonical 7 deadly sins. Was pride mentioned more than once?
I mentioned pride.
2 people got pride. Nobody mentioned envy. But I think people hit the classic ones. Sloth, clearly very popular. Lust, very popular. And gluttony, pretty good. Everybody loves that.
Greed was also very popular.
Oh yeah,
Same
you people
as
love
sloth.
greed.
They love it so much they choose a second word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, any rulings on which items do or don't count as synonyms?
So if only one person had done avarice and greed as answers, I would have just combined it as the same answer. However, because we had 2 people that used the same word twice, that technically fits within the rules of mind melding. So I gave Jean and Jason both 2 points for matching with avarice.
Okay. Let's see here. So Kathy, you have already figured out that's their score for the 7 deadly sins in the spreadsheet there.
Correct.
Do we need to put in points for melds or
Yes,
okay.
we need to meld.
So looking at your responses, 3 of you got melds. So Chip, Jason, and Jean all listed things that other people listed. Kathy, here's the trickier part. Did anyone get a full meld, which is to say their list looks exactly the same as somebody else?
They did. Wait, no, they did not.
They did not. Okay. So no full melds, but meld points awarded. 3 points to Chip, Jason, and Jean.
I may be the only person in this game who does think about the 7 deadly sins by trying to visualize a building. My college campus has a building around the outside, and there's public art. There's neon lights, giant at the top of the building, that flash on and off with the 7 deadly sins.
What? Why?
And the 7 saintly virtues.
Oh,
so I just sit there. The saintly virtues are in blue, and the deadly sins are in red, and they flash on and off differently. So I sat here trying to imagine that building in San Diego and being like, "What does it say? What does it say? Does it say gluttony? It definitely says anger.
Does it say avarice? Greed or avarice, though?
It says avarice. I just looked it
that
up.
That takes a lot more lights.
It's lust, envy, sloth, pride, avarice, gluttony, and anger, it says. And then there's the saintly virtues, which I'm not going to spoil in case
those could come up at
any moment.
No one knows.
All right. Well, Kathy, I got to
Okay.
give a bonus point to Brian for mentioning not recording your half of the podcast, because that is, if not, maybe not a deadly sin, but one of the deadly sins of podcasting.
It's a venal
right?
sin. At
Yeah.
least, yeah.
So would you like to award or subtract a point, Kathy?
I mean, I'm going to mind meld with you as the host and also give Brian
Wow.
because that was fantastic.
New
And-
territory.
yes.
Usually one of us adds and one of us subtracts, and never before have we done it to the same person. So wow, exciting new territory here. Kathy,
I feel
would you like
very
to give
loved.
us a quick update on this score, which because it's round 1 is the total score for the game?
I would absolutely love to. Starting off at the bottom, but still high in our hearts, top in our, I don't know. We're going to go on. Brian
that's it.
has 15 points. Shelly has 17. Jean and Jason are tied with 20, and Chip has 22.
Okay. So it is time to go to round 2. We do things a little bit differently now that we are fully into Mind Meld. You all get a chance to choose the category. Jean, you'll be choosing first. Jean, your choices for the category are spaceships or sitcoms. Which category would you like us to play?
Sitcoms, please.
All right, players, you heard it. You've got a minute. Give me your 5 sitcoms that you think other people are thinking of.
Oh, man. I'm glad Spaceships wasn't chosen because
What do you got for
although
top
I'm not
spaceships?
playing.
Kathy?
Enterprise.
Yep, number 1 spaceship for me, Enterprise.
Yep. Millennium Falcon.
That would be my number 2. Yeah. Now it gets a little bit trickier.
I know. I would
Okay.
probably say whatever Boba Fett's spaceship is called.
Actually, that's a really challenging one.
Nope.
Yep.
Wave it
Bad
off,
news.
wave it off.
Bad,
Don't do
bad
it.
news. Bad news, Kathy.
Darn it. I got to return my nerd card.
You mean the fire spray gunship? So the unnamed. Yeah, there's a whole thing. Boba Fett and the Star Wars DMV and the Lucasfilm marketing people. It's been recalled. So let's move past that. You got a number 4? Do you have a spaceship that you would name that's not a Star Trek or Star Wars spaceship?
Challenger.
Okay, that's a real canonical spaceship.
Yep.
Let's see how
What
people are
about
doing. Yeah, I think I would have gone with those. I might have, Luke Skywalker's X-wing, which is Red 5. That would have maybe come
No.
up in my head.
It was standing by.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Just checking if Brian has or
I
has not put
understood
in
that.
answers. All right, we've got
Right.
answers from Brian, Jean, Chip, and Jason, which means we're waiting for Shelly.
No longer.
No longer. All right. Answers are in for round 2 for the category of sitcoms. We'll move down in the order. So, Brian, tell us about what you think the 5 sitcoms are that other people are going to think of.
So I put Parks and Rec, Seinfeld, The Office, 30 Rock, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Very nice list.
9.
Jason Snell, tell us about your 5 sitcoms.
I said The Office, Seinfeld, Cheers, The Good Place, and MASH.
Not After MASH, just MASH.
Yeah, there was. I was trying to think of one with a lemur, and I couldn't come up with one.
That is going to haunt you for the rest of this game.
I mean, Friends has a monkey. I should have written Friends, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Shelly, what do you got for 5 sitcoms?
Shows, many of which I realize that I don't like, but I
That's
listed
okay.
them because I thought others might.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I put Friends, 2.5 Men for some reason. I Love Lucy, How I Met Your Mother, and The Simpsons.
Okay. I believe that's the first animated one listed so far. Chip, what do you got for 5 sitcoms?
I've got Cheers, Frasier, MASH, The Good Place, and Ted Lasso.
Oh,
And Jean.
interesting. Well, I have Seinfeld, Friends, Cheers, Frasier, and The Office.
Okay. So lots of overlap here. The Office, very popular. Cheers and Seinfeld, relatively popular. Friends, MASH, and Frasier, are mentioned,
Interesting.
and The Good Place.
Are
So
mentioned.
I
Mentioned.
believe that Gene, you are nope, sorry, I should start that over. Gene and Jason are going to get bonus points for getting a meld, because everything you listed is something that somebody else listed. Seinfeld, Friends, Cheers, Frasier, and The Office for Gene.
Thanks, Chip.
And Jason, The Office, Seinfeld, Cheers, The Good Place, and MASH. All right. Let's see here. Kathy, any sorry. I totally forget how we do stuff. Kathy, can you give me a breakdown of how other folks scored this round?
Yeah, it looks like Shelly got 2 points, Chip got 7, Brian got 6, Jason got 13, and Gene got 14.
Oh, Gene cleaning up the points on the
Mhm.
round that she chose. Good job.
Yay.
And Gene and Jason, of course, get their 3 meld points. And Kathy, what do we want to do for bonus points? Did you any favorites in here?
I mean, so many good shows. I'm going to give my chaos point to Chip for Ted Lasso, which was the only streaming only show that was named.
I would have done. I totally would have done that. As my runner-up chaos point, I'm gonna give Brian a chaos point for mentioning several of my favorite shows: 30 Rock, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Parks and Rec. So
Surprised none of those came up anywhere else. So
I feel
You know,
terrible
to-
about it now.
taste of TV.
Kathy, how have those affected the overall scores?
Well, guess what? They have made the numbers go up.
That's what
because
they
that
do.
is how math
Wait,
works.
that's
I know.
That's crazy.
It's shocking.
Kathy,
is
we should
amazing.
double check that I've set up the spreadsheet correctly. That sounds impossible.
I know. It's crazy town over here. But we have Shelly has 19 points. Brian has 22. Chip has 30. Jason has 36, which is really close to Gene's number 1 placement with 37.
All right. It is still anyone's game. We have several rounds to go, but we're already seeing some change ups in who is at the top of our list. Brian, you are going to pick the next round.
All right.
Your choices are robots or rom-coms. What are we going to play?
Rom-coms.
All right,
Yes,
players,
yes.
5 rom-coms, if you please. Kathy, robots. Again, Star Wars and C3. Star Wars comes to mind immediately for me. I think that my brain wants to say C3PO is my number 1 robot.
Yeah, clearly.
I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't think I'm the biggest fan of C3PO, but he's up there.
Yeah, he's definitely like
A robot.
a robot. Well, I mean, is a robot is a droid a robot? Or is a robot a droid?
I don't know if C3PO has been answered on robot or not, but I believe it passed the Syracuse test in terms of mobile aware.
Yeah.
Honestly, and in the case of the Star Wars droids, much too aware for their various functions that they're asked
true.
to do.
That's
like,
true.
why did we give this walking battery sentience and the ability to feel pain? Why
And
did we
anxiety.
do that? And anxiety. Yeah. Why? That was
Yes.
a poor choice that someone made. What do you got for top robots?
All right, the first one that would come in my head would be BD1 because I have been
Mhm.
playing the first Jedi
Jedi Survivor.
Survivor.
Or no,
or
Jedi
no,
Outcast.
yeah, because no Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Uh-huh.
So not
Got
the
it.
first one, but
Yep.
clearly.
And he is the
I-
lovable little droid that
Yes,
sits on
he's
your
so
shoulder and gives you
cute.
stim packs. I feel like I would have said Data from Star Trek, which then I think we get into a whole thing
interesting.
about do androids count as robots?
Right.
Jason, canonically, do androids count as robots?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Are
Okay.
all
Mr.
androids
Robot.
robots or just some robots?
I think
So-
androids are just robots that have human form.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you.
I think.
So, all right. It looks like we are getting answers. This is good. I will say, interesting choice of rom-coms. These are not a genre of movies that I have a lot of experience with, and I think if I had been asked to list 5, I would not have done as well as all of you.
I
So
can
will simply
confirm
say
that these are all actually rom-coms.
these are canonically
Kathy,
rom-coms.
Yeah.
None
a
of,
member
none of
in good standing of the Agents of Smooch.
yes.
Yeah.
Kathy, I appreciate
Rochelle,
that.
Rochelle. One
Yeah.
Woman's Erotic Journey from Milan to Minsk.
Nice.
A rom-com
Reference acknowledged. So
from a sitcom.
yeah.
But nobody
So-
answered it.
Sitcom
So-
rom-com.
All right. Brian, pick the round. We're going to start with Jason for listing. Jason, what do you got for us for your 5 rom-coms that came to mind?
I put my favorite rom-com first, which is When Harry Met Sally. I followed it up with what I think is maybe the definitive top of mind rom-com, which is Four Weddings and a Funeral. There's a funeral, but the weddings. Let's focus on the weddings. You've Got Mail, another Nora Ephron rom-com from the 90s. 10 Things I Hate About You we watched. That's a rom-com, even though it's sort of Shakespeare. And I put Jerry Maguire down because, you had me at hello, Tony. You had me at hello.
Isn't that mainly a movie about sports management? I don't remember the details.
It's not, though. It's about one man's journey to opening his heart.
Okay.
Sports management.
My main
But
my
is it
main
comedy?
I believe my main exposure to Jerry Maguire was reading the Wikipedia article about it after it is heavily referenced in the Lego Batman movie, which is just
That's very on brand.
Yes,
Tony.
you do.
Peak
Very
is
on brand.
comparable, Tony.
you
As
know,
you do.
I feel like you all are sharing so much of your brains. I wanted to share a little bit about how my brain works.
Yeah.
All
Scare
right.
quotes.
Shelley, what do you got for 5 rom-coms?
Influenced by the relatively recent viewing of 10 Things I Hate About You. That's the
Mm.
first one.
Nice.
You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, Bridget Jones' Diary, and Love Actually.
Okay, very good.
Love Actually is a better choice than Four Weddings and a Funeral.
It
I
is,
screwed that
Jason,
one up.
as you'll find out when we
Yes.
reach the scoring stage. Is
Honestly,
Spoilers.
I thought about Four Weddings and a Funeral and realized that I actually meant Love Actually. So well, it's fine. It's not
No
like saying a
funerals, Love
tomato.
Actually.
You were
is-
very certain about 4 weddings.
Mm.
Now, really? Is
Yeah.
it all that
No,
canonical?
I was
Okay,
because
yeah.
I thought it was. I was talking it up, even though everybody already made their decision, so I wasn't
Yep.
able to badger anybody into doing
Nope.
it. Yeah. You know what I meant.
No, Jason, that's not how mind meld works. You gotta.
No,
you gotta
scoring
act-
works.
What I meant.
Yeah.
I'm
Chip.
sorry, but
If
no.
only. If
Chip.
only.
So what you're saying is Love Actually and Four Weddings are not synonyms.
No, well, that's up to
No.
Kathy, but you know,
Only
No.
in my brain. Only in my brain.
Yeah.
All right, here's what I got. Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail,
No,
Love Actually, and My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
all right, nice list. Gene, how'd you do?
It's very hard to think of rom-coms when people are discussing robots.
I'm sorry.
That's why I never listen to you people.
Mhm.
I tried to figure out how to mute the chatter, and I
You
couldn't.
just got to
and
take
so
the headphones off.
Yeah,
I
Gene,
take them off.
Gene, most
I
people
couldn't
that
do that.
have known me just learned just to tune it out. There's just
Yeah.
that's
It's just Tony talking again.
that's a
or-
key dynamic of most of my
Yeah.
ongoing relationships with people. It's just got to turn that down.
I would never.
No, I just I love the rush you get from this game because you of course know 10 great rom-coms, but on that moment I can only think of like 2 and then
Mhm.
3 and then I'm like, is Jerry Maguire a rom-com? I think it is. So I
Jason-
picked it.
Jason
Jerry
said it
Maguire.
is, and so that's
I
all that
was-
matters.
Cut right there.
Sleepless in Seattle, yes. When Harry Met Sally. I picked Say Anything and Pretty Woman. So
Mhm.
I think I'm not going to get a meld this time.
You're in company, so you
Yes.
know. You know.
Spoiler alert, nobody else did either.
It's not looking good for the Greek wedding.
Brian, what do you got for us?
So embarrassed I missed You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle, 2 friend of mine rom-coms for me. I started with Love Actually, and then went into How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. He's just not that into you. Then When Harry Met Sally and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay.
Just wrote
I
long
love that
titles
film.
there. That
Well,
was
I will say,
taken
you know,
forever.
Brian,
It's a good
How to
list,
Lose
though.
a Guy in 10 Days. Clearly, you were almost just slightly off the wavelength of 10 Things,
10
I
Things
hate about you. Yeah, you
You'll
had the
lose a
number
guy in 10
That's what
things
you
I
meant
hate
to
about
write,
you.
but you didn't.
Yeah, it's So, you know,
Yeah.
Are
it-
those synonyms, Kathy?
The number 10, Hugh Grant, pretty much the same.
yep, Downing Street, it all
Um,
fills in the blanks. Yep. So it
Hugh
looks
Grant
like
isn't in either of those movies. No, I
He's
don't.
in all the
I don't.
movies. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He plays the droid in the back of the second
Are
row.
you sure, Kathy? Legally, are they allowed to make rom-coms that don't have Hugh Grant in it? I assume he does. You
God, I
know.
hope.
He's
Like-
he's an
like
executive
voice-
producer. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. That makes sense. Man, they really got that locked down in the UK there. All right. So what I am learning as someone who does not know a lot about rom-coms is that When Harry Met Sally, it seems to be the closest thing there is to a canonical rom-com. 4 out of 5 of you mentioned that. Love Actually got 3 mentions. You've got Mail got 3 mentions, and Sleepless in Seattle got 3 mentions. 10 Things That I Hate About You got 2 mentions, and Jerry Maguire got 2 mentions, and then Several Things get 1 mention, which we won't mention because you get no points.
Because they're unmentionable.
They're unmentionable. Kathy, I'm gonna cede my chaos points to you as a expert on rom-coms. So feel free to subtract or add 1 or 2 points based on how you feel about these things, because I have no strong feelings about them.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm definitely going to give 1 point to Shelley because Bridget Jones's Diary is a great example of a rom-com and includes Hugh Grant. And then
that's true. Canonical
because I have 2,
Right.
I'm going to give an extra point to Jason because the fact that he confused Four Weddings and a Funeral with Love Actually is just hilarious, especially if you have listened to the commentary of Love Actually,
Yeah.
where they talk about the joys of
Thank you, Kathy. I think I have Hugh Grant movie blindness.
Yeah.
It's
a serious medical condition.
Like, I don't know what it is. It's just in all of them.
Kathy, how has that affected our overall scores?
Guess what? The points have gone up again.
What?
I know.
Unbelievable.
Brian has 29 points. Shelley has 31. Chip has 43. Jean has 46. And Jason is in first place with 48.
The
I'd like to
person
thank
that
Hugh
you
Grant.
just gave points to? Wow.
I know. Listen.
Thank you, Hugh
The
Grant.
top
Blindness is
points
helpful.
are not reminiscent of where my chaos points go.
Mm.
Chaos points go to the winner of my heart.
All right.
Those who
That
deserve
round.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a true meritocracy here
Meritocracy
at Mind Meld. Nothing is it is perfect. This is the result of years of science and comments from Glenn have arrived at this game show that is true. It is refined perfection.
Absolutely.
Speaking of refined perfection, Jason Snell, you are currently in the lead, but it is your turn to pick the next round. So this could be what you do to move things forward or where it all falls apart. Really, the round is no different than any other ones, but I am loading it with drama
Yep.
for the purposes of podcasting. This is the thing I do. Jason.
Now, before we get to that, let me tell you about our sponsor in this episode.
Random.org.
Jason, your choices for the category that we are going to play for round 4 are either Midwestern states or Miyazaki movies.
Shit.
Oh.
Did I say that out loud?
Jason, I didn't answer. I encourage you not to overthink it.
What if I refuse?
Yes.
I will choose for you then. That is
I'm
what's
going to go with let's do Midwestern states for comedy
Midwestern
purposes.
states, people.
Yes.
I am not offering any comments or judgments about a long-going Slack thread that I've had with Jason for about like 7 years about how angry at him I am about something. But you all have a minute. Please give me 5 Midwestern states that you think other people will think about. Again, it does not matter whether they are actually Midwestern states. They are just things people think about. And also, almost everybody is wrong about what is in the Midwest, especially rich coastal elites who are completely out of touch with real America.
But we're not talking about
We are
Midwestern
not talking
states
about
right
Midwestern
now, Tony.
states. No, we're talking about Miyazaki movies. So
That take place in Midwestern states. That's so
this is the banter we're doing while you put in Midwestern states, people. You're putting in Midwestern states. Kathy and I
We're
are talking
about Miyazaki
Yeah.
movies.
Well, number one Miyazaki movie in my heart. Oh wow, I felt like I had an answer for that ready to go. I think it's My Neighbor Totoro would be up there, but Princess Mononoke was like the first Miyazaki movie I saw in theaters. So those two are like right up there jockeying for position in my brain. What do you got?
Yeah, Totoro is definitely number 1, which is why I had forgotten that this was one of the categories, and yet I'm still wearing my Totoro shirt.
Catherine, that shirt is legally distinct and does not
I know.
originate with Miyazaki in any
It
way.
is not, but is inspired by and close to my heart. But Princess Mononoke was the first Miyazaki movie that I also watched. Kiki's Delivery Service has great merch. The merch for Kiki's so
that is
good.
how we like to evaluate art is the quality of the merch.
It's true. And I don't know if I can name something about fireflies. Right?
Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies. Yep.
Not
a Miyazaki movie.
a
I don't
Miyazaki
Oh,
movie.
it's not.
It's a famous Japanese animated
You know what?
movie.
I
but
would
yeah.
end up having to do something.
Spirit Ghibli, but not.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's okay.
Yes. You know what?
Spirited Away.
Okay. Yeah.
Rashomon's my favorite.
No, that's not how I remember it. So,
Finally, a joke I can enjoy.
all right. People were very quick to come up with Midwestern states. Too quick, suspiciously quick. I'm on to you. So Jason has started this round, which means we will hear from Shelly first. Shelly, what do you got for us?
I have
the 5 Midwesternest of Midwestern states.
made by Miyazaki. Now I
Yeah.
have Indiana,
Mhm.
Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, and Illinois.
Those are I'm just gonna say all of those in the Midwest, according to
thank
Tony
God.
Sindelar. But again,
And
it does.
man
It,
who
Most
lives in the
importantly,
East.
they are all states.
yeah, they are all states. That's also
States
good.
of mind, states of
yeah.
being.
So that again, it does not actually matter how I
Doesn't
care
mean a
about
darn
these.
thing,
It
but-
does. It means nothing. This is just banter to fill time for the podcast. Chip, tell us about the Midwest. My understanding is you don't live in the Midwest.
Let me anger thee, Tony.
Oh,
Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri.
I'm totally fine with that list. You've done nothing to me. You have no power here. That's a solid list.
Oh, Jason is not happy.
Well, he shouldn't be.
I don't
But
approve
we'll
of
get
those
to him
states.
at the end. Gene, what do you got for us?
I have Ohio, Michigan, Nebraska, Kansas, and Illinois.
That is an excellent list.
Nebraska.
A state that Jason Snell, whose turn it is not yet, often forgets about because he is a bad man. Yep.
Accurate.
Accurate.
True story.
Kathy, put that in the spreadsheet.
Yep. Bad man. Got it.
Man.
All right. Excellent list, Gene. Brian, what do you got for us?
I have Ohio,
Mhm.
Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Not traditionally what we think of as a state, but
the nation state of Pittsburgh.
So
I
close,
think
Brian.
I understand what you're trying to do there, and we'll see how that works out for you in the scoring. So,
Just a little joke for y'all.
yeah, just a little podcast reference there for people. Jason Snell, this is all your fault. What do you got?
Well, Tony, the problem that I have is that I'm not sure the states themselves can be Midwestern or not
Cut him off.
Midwestern.
Cut his mic.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
Moving
this sounds
on.
pretty waffly to me.
Because some some states are partly in the Midwest and partly not. But
All right.
I
Take
accept your prep.
your feelings back to California. I want to know about state boundaries.
but
Give me-
my parents are both from the Midwest. My father was from Minnesota and my mother was from Pennsylvania. Anyway, Western
Vindicated.
Pennsylvania, which is
Yeah.
part of the Midwest. Anyway, my
It's what Pittsburgh is.
Brian almost perfectly
Yeah.
melded me.
Yeah.
Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and I said Iowa.
Mhm. Well, Jason, let me tell you, you picked the round, and I think you picked wisely, as you got a meld. You are, I believe, the only person here
Yep.
who got everything you listed was something that
Ow.
somebody else listed. Very nicely done there. I will
It's
say,
as if
just,
I have mainstream opinions about what makes the Midwest.
Flyover country opinions.
I
is the
now
word.
see that this whole round has been used against me, and that will be
Yes.
reflected in your scoring.
Tony, did you expect something else? I mean, what does that say about
I just
you?
thought every now and then maybe I would win just statistically, and yet years of total party kill is not.
Tony never wins.
It's
People-
not called Total Party Win.
He never
Tony.
gives up,
I
but he
do-
never
What doesn't
wins.
constitute
Never
a win for you,
surrenders.
Tony?
I have so little going for me. I will say, just looking at these, I really appreciate 4 out of 5 of you listed Ohio as your first entry. Again, order doesn't matter, but I think, clearly many of you immediately went to Ohio, which I think really cements Ohio as your Midwestern.
And the fifth person
identity.
did not mention Ohio.
The fifth person did not mention Ohio at all. We don't know who that person is.
No.
I think they live in possibly the Midwest of Texas, but it's unclear.
Midwest, Central Texas.
It might Central. I mean, where you're always west of
it's
something.
Mid.
In the middle.
You're mid.
It's
Sorry,
something.
mid Texas. You're not mid East. You're not Midwest. You're just mid Texas.
Right.
So Ohio, clearly a very popular answer. 4 votes for Ohio, 4 votes for Indiana, and 4 votes for Illinois, which clearly are your classic trinity of the Midwest. Lesser numbers of points for 2 points for Kansas, 2 points for Iowa, 3 points for Michigan, which I should have said earlier in this listing.
It's fine. You're doing great, Tony.
2 points for Wisconsin. Now, Kathy, when I gave you my point last round, and that was like a generous gift that I did. Now,
you get these.
I'm taking it back. I don't think
you can't take it if I give it to you.
All right, I had planned that to be a generous gift, and now I want those points back because I want permission to punish and reward people, and I'm giving a bonus point to Gene for listing Nebraska, the forgotten about Midwestern state where I was born and have visited many times, and. I'm gonna take a point away from Jason because you gotta level these things off.
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised you didn't take 2 points from Jason, but
I got off lightly there.
He gets his 3 meld points, and he gets one negative point as part of my ongoing feud with him. I believe he still, even after that, cleans up with the most points.
Our feud will be settled with a duel in the Midwest, but we can't agree on where it will happen.
We'll have the time correct. Maybe not the time zone, but yes.
He's in Nebraska. Jason's in Ohio.
Eastern time in the Midwest? Really?
Yeah.
It is? It sort of is. I don't know.
Yeah,
Somehow we both ended up in Pittsburgh. Kathy. Kathy, I feel, I was really hoping this would at least settle some things among my friends. No such luck. How has it settled things with the scores?
Yeah, Shelly has 43 points. Brian has 44.
Ooh.
Chip has 55. Gene has 60. And even with a -1 point from Tony, Jason has 67.
All right. Jason has played his
Bad
round
vibes.
well.
Bad vibes.
But it is time to move on to round 5. We are getting close to the end. There will be 7 rounds total, with that 7th final round having a special format and special scoring. And it's just really special, everybody. It's the end of the game.
Special.
But don't worry about that. That's a while from now. Shelly, you are going to get to pick what we will play next. Your choices are classic films or classical composers. What are we going to play? I'll remind you that knowing stuff is not necessarily.
I understand that. I know how this game works, Tony.
Yeah.
I know too many things. We're going to do classical composers.
All right, people, you heard it. Classical composers. We need 5 of them. I mean, you don't technically have to give me 5, but it is advantageous to your scores to have 5 composers. And while you think about that, Kathy and I will have a true and honest conversation about classical films. Those are like
I
old
can't
movies,
wait.
right? My understanding is thanks to HBO eliminating Turner Classic Movies, we no longer have to acknowledge the existence of classic movies. Like we've won that culture war is done now. Is that?
Or you can visit Lions, Towers, and Shields,
Mhm.
and
That's where all the classic movies are.
Yeah.
check out
Them over
a
there.
list of classic movies, which I definitely am not on the site right now to look at any that I could
remind you.
recognize.
So I will say I live in the greater Boston area, and there is in Brattle Square, there's the Brattle Theater. That's a part of Cambridge. And they play lots of different types of movies, but they love to have they play classical movies occasionally as well. And I have seen several great classic movies there, such as The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca,
That's one I recognize. Oh,
and
yeah.
M. I think those are my 3 kind of classic old-timey classic movies that come to my mind, at least based on my limited personal experience. Shelley, what do you? Or sorry, nope. Shelley's
Hi,
picked around.
I'm Kathy. Tony,
Kathy.
nice to meet you.
Kathy, what did you pick?
Probably I think Breakfast at Tiffany's. Rear Window is one. I do like. I stayed at a hotel that had classic movies.
Oh, okay. It was not a hotel where murder was happening.
No, well, you know what? It's Portland.
You don't know that.
We don't know. Who knows? But Rear Window was the floor that I was on, and it was really neat to have faces watching me as I slept. No, that's weird. Moving on.
Usually you have to go to a doll museum for that.
If only we knew somebody who had connections at a doll museum.
Yeah, we have a friend who's big into big doll.
Thankfully, everyone is
Tony.
entered.
All right.
Answers.
Yes, we have responses from everyone, so we can truncate this discussion of dolls and people watching you while you sleep. So Shelley picked the round. We're going to hear from Chip first. Chip, what do you got for us for classical composers? I'm just similar to rom-coms. My ability to name 5 classical composers would have required Wikipedia to get here. So all of you are better than me. Unfortunately, that counts for 0 points unless you are, the same as each other. Chip, 5 composers. What do you got?
I summon Beethoven, Bach, Brahms, Mozart, and Handel.
Well, I will say those probably. If I had to list 5, I would have gotten at least the first 3. I would have gotten would be right
Jason's
on
shaking
there.
his head at me already.
Jason is sad.
It's about me. There was an obvious composer I missed. It's fine.
Oh, okay. All right, Chip. That seems like a great list. Solid work. Jean, what do you got?
Can I just say I've not once screenshotted my answers and every time go to scribbling them down madly, trying to remember what I wrote.
Well, I can read them
remember.
Yeah, we can always help as needed.
I know I can't cheat because I know you already have the answers. Not that I would. Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, and Wagner. And anyway, Brahms and Handel were in my head, but I thought they might be.
Hey, only one person has
obscure.
listed them so far. I think there's an excellent list. Also, good pronunciation. I don't actually know how these things are pronounced. So, Brian, 5 composers for us, please.
All right, we got Beethoven.
Yeah,
We got Bach. We got Mozart. We got all the hits there. Then we got Chopin. And we have Vivaldi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good one.
Good. These are, as far as I know, all composers. Again, good work here.
No one was happy I said those last 2, which means I probably didn't get a meld, which is
all
great.
right. Jason, you looked fretful as you were hearing other people's composers. What do you got?
Turns out there were 3 go-to composers. I only remembered 2 of them. Suck it, Bach.
I'm sure he's rolling in his grave.
Beethoven. Well, I mean, there should be a good Bach movie then, shouldn't there? There's a good Mozart movie. There's a good Beethoven movie. Where's the good Bach movie?
Is there
Yes,
really?
the dog. The dog.
Isn't that second Star Wars movie a good Bach movie? No.
Anyway, so Beethoven and Mozart. Chopin. Don't worry, Brian. I got your Chopin right here. And I went with Brahms and in obscurity, apparently, Mahler. Gustav Mahler.
Oh.
And Shelley, you chose this category for us. How did that work out for you?
Casablanca, multi. Oh wait,
Oh,
no, that's not right. So there's always one you forget, and in every single category, one obvious one, and the one I forgot was Mozart. So I had Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Liszt, and Dvorak. Because
I love his.
couldn't think of Mozart.
Love his keyboard.
Love his keyboard.
Don't care for his technology.
Also, there's
commentary.
there's also a classic film reference. There's an Anne Dvorak who appeared in a very, very old movie. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
I'm cross-pollinating. That's what I'm doing.
Well, clearly, Beethoven is your Ohio of classical composers.
Everybody says that.
Everybody says Beethoven. Almost everybody says Bach. And lots of people say Mozart. Some people say Brahms. And a few people mention Chopin. And then, this was clearly a place where all of you were free independent thinkers, which is fiercely punished here on Mind Meld. So there are no meld points. And we have yet to have a full meld this whole game. You have not linked up with anybody. So let us see. It looks like Kathy, why don't you give us just a quick breakdown of the scores for this round, and then we'll do the total scores after we do chaos points.
Absolutely. So Shelly got 11 points, Jean got 13, Jason got 14, Brian got 15, and Chip got 16.
Very nice work, Chip. Kathy, feelings on chaos points?
I am going to give a chaos point to Jean because I enjoy saying Tchaikovsky.
I do too. It's a good
it's a
one.
good word.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Everybody would pick Tchaikovsky. I was like,
I'm gonna give
first on my list.
I'm gonna give Shelly my chaos point because I enjoyed making jokes about Dvorak. So that's
Yay.
that's all it takes, people. I'm a simple person.
That's why they're called chaos points.
Yep.
That's your type, Tony.
How has this affected the overall scores, Kathy? Did they keep going up?
They did.
What?
It's amazing.
In some cases, just barely.
But that's okay because Shelly has 55 points, Brian has 59, Chip has 71, Jean has 74, and Jason has 81.
All right. Chip, it is the last round in which a player gets to select the category. Chip, I'm going to ask you to choose what we're going to play. Are we going to play Avengers or appliances?
Oh, come on. We've got to be on brand here. It's the Avengers.
All right, people. Avengers. I'm not going to say anything else about the word Avenger that would clue you in any way. But again, I know right and wrong answers because of who I am and the life that I have led. But
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So, So you got a minute. I want five Avengers, and Kathy and I are just gonna have just a real heart to heart about appliances. Kathy, I did not think this far ahead of time.
Yeah, no, you didn't, but that's okay because let's talk about refrigerators.
Yeah, number one appliance, refrigerator.
Right? Easily number one because it means I can have access to fruit and cheese that stays cold. Also extra fancy ones that make ice and water. Big happy with refrigerators.
About a year ago, at the end of last summer, my refrigerator broke, and it took a solid month before I got a replacement refrigerator, which was I think probably 80% supply chain issues, 20% my landlord being, just
a landlord. That's all you got to say.
I'm not going to say anything that could be used against me.
Nope.
So I will tell you, living without a refrigerator in our modern world is not an experience I would wish upon anyone.
Yeah.
Even people who are just real bad at mind meld, they don't deserve that.
Nope.
Refrigerator gets my top 3 spots for appliances. After that, I don't know, sure, stove and toaster,
microwave,
and
microwave?
I don't use the microwave a lot, but we got a microwave, so yeah.
Eating
stuff. I mean, it's okay, but once you've made stuff cold, that's what I really care about.
Yes. I really, really. Who knew that I would really love my refrigerator, but I do because I can get ice and water without having to push a button to trade because it has the different holes. Which
I don't have that.
Extra.
Nice.
You might be surprised to know that the refrigerator supplied by my landlord that took a month to arrive
does not have anything.
Has
like
a very limited feature set.
Yeah.
So only has Bluetooth and not Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Oh my god!
Is there a TV on the front of it?
No,
or just inside of it.
Washing machine's got to be a solid number 2, right?
I don't have one of those, so
Well, do you like going to the laundromat?
You've used them before.
You like clean clothes?
I do like clean clothes. I did live a life of going to the laundromat.
But you're a podcaster, so you don't need them.
But yeah,
because you're alone and you're in the room.
Jason, I live at home. I'm unemployed. Clean clothes. All right. Yeah, not everyone has that glamorous garage podcaster
so you just
lifestyle that you do.
Stick the plug in the tub and throw your clothes in and turn on the water, and
Jason, you pick
use
out
a stick to agitate it, and
Jason, you pick out your clothes for the day, you take a shower, and then it takes care of itself.
I see.
So
use a hair dryer.
Yeah, New England is known for
our
our very dry and lack of humid summers.
Yeah.
All right. So my ability to riff on appliances is much better than expected. All of the responses.
I'm proud.
For the Avengers, and Kathy has even almost finished scoring everything. Actually, it looks like has finished. So Chip, this is all your fault. That means we will start with Gene. Gene, how'd you do at naming 5 Avengers?
I was doing fine, but I have to say Amazon series The Boys got me. Like I was like, who's the guy that does? Oh wait, that nobody does that.
That's right. This episode brought to you by The Boys on Amazon. What if superheroes were perverts? Check out The Boys on Amazon.
So yes, so Iron Man,
Yep.
Captain America, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Black Panther.
Well, all of those are Avengers, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, Gene, you got a meld because everything you listed there has been listed by other people. Boom.
Oh, glad I didn't put Homelander down.
Yeah, not an Avenger canonically, but if other people have been thinking of him, look, he's basically Captain America, Superman. It's fine.
Basically Captain America.
Brian, were you able to name 5 Avengers?
I'm going all the way back to 2012 to the only Avengers movie I was really excited to see in theaters. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, Black Widow.
I'm just going to mention the Hulk, I believe, technically kicked out of the Avengers for being the Hulk. But
did you see the movie that's called The Avengers 2012?
He's in that one.
He's in that.
I'm referring to the comics, people. These filthy movies that they let anybody watch who pays for them. I've never actually read the original Avengers comic books, but I've been to comic book stores, and that is enough to be a pretentious jerk. Jason, you love comic bookery.
I think I do, but like Brian, I just picked that shot where the camera whirls around all of the Avengers, and then forgot Hawkeye, because who needs Hawkeye? So Iron Man, the Hulk, Captain America, Thor, and Black Widow. Hey Brian, I think we super melded there.
Yeah, I believe that you have gotten a full meld for doing that.
Sorry, Hawkeye.
Yeah, well, not that sorry.
It's on brand for Hawkeye, isn't it?
Shelley, were you able to name 5 Avengers?
I hope so. So I've never seen an Avengers movie.
You've never seen an Avengers movie, but you exist in America, and our marketing engines are
marketing doesn't work on me.
Juggernauts.
And right. And if an Avenger walked into an elevator, I wouldn't know who they were. And I'm the kind of person who thinks it's funny when somebody mentions the name of a superhero to say, "Is that Marvel or DC?" and watch their head explode.
By the way, Shelley, that Avenger who walked into the elevator is Captain America.
No.
Yes, America's butt.
There's
my God, because I put him on my
films
list
with elevator fight scenes in Captain America.
I chose ones I'd heard of that I think are Avengers: Thor, Iron Man. I have to look at my list. Black Panther, Captain America, and Doctor Strange.
Shelley, congratulations. Those are all indeed Avengers. They're all people that they're specifically all Avengers who have had a movie named after them. I can tell you canonically, those are all Avengers. I have one piece of disappointing sad news for you, which is though Doctor Strange is 100% an Avenger, both in the comics and in the movies and all that stuff, nobody else thought of him because people hate magic. And when I say people, I mean the other players here who are not your friends. So I just want to tell you that you are valid, and
Thanks,
I don't know,
Tony.
but other people are bad, canonically bad people. Speaking of canonically bad, Chip, you chose this round for us. How'd you do?
I can't believe you people left Hawkeye out. Like I did. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow.
Yeah. All right.
Mega meld.
Now, I will say the Avengers, I mean, I think if you consulted probably the Wikipedia page for the Avengers, it's probably like 100 names long. Basically, every Marvel Comics character has at some point like tagged into the Avengers, and they've given him like a parking pass, and then, collected it 6 months later. But clearly heavily influenced by the movies, which still have a lot of characters. But, you got the top right away Avengers. So I believe Brian, Jason, and Chip, you all got full melds for giving us the exact same set of Avengers. Gene, you get a meld for listing everybody, listing Avengers that other people listed. And Shelley, you just get a bunch of points for listing a bunch of Avengers.
A very small bunch of points.
Yeah. This is a high scoring, but there's not a lot of range among your scores around. Clearly, your canonical Avengers that everybody named Iron Man, which is a little funny to us comics fans because he's not exactly an A-list comics guy. But hey, first movies, and movies are what counts, right? Apparently, Captain America, Hulk, and Thor are clearly your next round. Also, Black Widow in there with 4 mentions, and then you got Black Panther, 2 mentions, and no points for poor Doctor Strange, who spent all those years in medical school and wizard school. But if he had just been nicer to people, might have been listed on more people's lists. So yeah.
Well, Doctor Strange will get a point because he will get my chaos point because
thanks.
I love magic.
You know what? Just because there's not everybody else did so well, I'm giving my chaos point to Shelley as well.
Oh God!
Well, guess what? Other people just they melded, so there's not a lot to say. Kathy, can you give us a quick rundown of the scores this round and then the total score standing? How did people do this round?
Yeah, Shelley got 16 points, Gene got 20 points, and Brian, Jason, and Chip all got 22 points, which makes sense because they super melded.
And how are our total overall scores doing?
And the overall score is Shelley has 73, Brian has 86, Gene has 97, Chip has 98, and Jason has 108.
Oh, a commanding lead for Jason. It's all on him not to screw it up in this final round. All right, now we go into the final round, and the rules are a little bit different because it's true. The final round being correct does matter. I am going to give you a category. You're going to give me something from that category very quickly. Kathy's going to keep track of answers. We are going to consult a list of the canonical items for what is on this list. If you are unable to give us something or list something that has already been listed, you are out. Scoring for this works as such. Whoever is the last person standing gets 10 points, next to last 8 points, and so on down the line. The order of play will be Gene, Brian, Jason, Shelley, Chip, and then around and around we will go through multiple rounds until 4 of you have stalled out on being able to list the thing. I have not told you what the thing yet. This is how we build drama, suspense, intrigue, the thing that you tune into the game show for. That and Tony and Kathy talking about appliances. Kathy. Yeah. Kathy, are you ready to add things to the list and make snap judgments about whether they meet our final category or not?
I am ready for clicking. Also, we have a notice in the chat that the scoring means Jason can't lose.
That is true. I wasn't going to mention that to anyone.
Stephen, edit this part out.
Yeah.
But this brings up potentially.
Thank you for pointing that out, listener Simon Welsh. Who could have done that? It's true. We have adjusted the scoring to the final round a little bit over the iterations. I think I'm happy with where the final rounds are. So yeah, okay. Jason can't lose, but every other position in the ranking could totally matter. And we'll see if Jason does something to make this awful. I don't know. Stephen, you can return to the podcast now.
This is ready. Let's go.
That's why people listen to the bootleg. All right. I'm going to tell you that the items that you are going to be listing here for the final round of Mind Meld Episode V is Olympic events. Gene, name an Olympic event.
Speed skating.
Brian, name an Olympic event.
Snowboarding.
Jason, name an Olympic event.
Soccer.
Shelley, name an Olympic event.
Curling.
Chip, name an Olympic event.
Long jump.
Gene, name an Olympic event.
Basketball.
Brian, name an Olympic event.
Luge.
Jason, name an Olympic event.
Biathlon.
Shelley, name an Olympic event.
100-yard dash.
Chip, name an Olympic event.
Hockey.
Gene,
Archery.
Brian,
Fencing.
Jason.
Either field hockey or ice hockey, the one that Chip didn't mean.
I think you're out because you have to pick an answer.
Well, no, he said hockey. Field hockey and ice hockey are both Olympic sports.
I know,
So
but it
which is
doesn't
it?
matter. You didn't pick one. You gave 2 answers.
Come on. No, I didn't. I gave one answer, the opposite of whatever Chip's answer was, because there were 2
No.
hockeys.
No.
And so Chip's answer is
Anti-hockey.
okay, hockey. The other one.
That's the same answer as what Chip gave. Sorry.
Kathy, have you done anything where you've managed to infuriate Jason even when he wins the game?
Yes, I have apparently.
And Jason's out due to the whims of our
I guess.
scorekeeper. Take your win and go
If
home.
you had picked either one, I would have given it to you.
Shelley, name an Olympic event.
Oh, I haven't had time. Volleyball.
Chip, name an Olympic event.
Marathon.
Gene, name an Olympic event.
Ice dancing.
Brian,
Shot put.
Shelley,
Diving.
Chip,
Synchronized swimming.
Gene,
Javelin throwing.
Brian,
Skiing.
Shelley,
Baseball.
Chip,
High hurdles.
Gene,
Airs figure skating.
Brian,
Balance beam.
Shelley.
Aerials.
Don't know what that is, but okay. Chip,
Pentathlon.
Gene,
A vault.
Brian,
Triathlon.
Shelley.
Ski jumping. Not the same as skiing.
Okay. Chip.
Snowboarding.
Oh, snowboarding was mentioned by Brian in round 1. Chip is out.
Ba-ba-bow.
Gene,
Floor exercise.
Brian,
Cross country skiing.
Shelley,
Weightlifting.
Gene,
Uneven parallel bars.
Brian.
High jump.
Okay.
Yep.
Shelley,
Boxing.
Gene,
Even parallel bars.
Brian.
It's a sport.
Couples figure skating.
I said that.
No, sorry. Pairs figure skating was already done.
No, they said figure skating, not couples specifically, right?
We specifically
Gene.
did pairs figure
Ah.
skating.
Sorry.
All right,
Sorry, Brian. Shelley,
Wrestling.
has wrestling not been done? All right, wrestling. Gene,
Beach volleyball.
Shelley.
I'm out.
All right, and Gene gets the 10 points for the final round. Good job,
Wow.
everybody. Even Jason. What's
Chip
wrong?
Chip used all of my my ones that I had in reserve, so I was very happy to get the pentathlon out there. And synchronized swimming, those are good ones.
All right. So let's see how those have affected the final score. So I believe that Gene was the last person standing. So Gene will get 10 points. Shelley, next to last, will get 8. Brian, next to last, 6. 4 for Chip. And Jason still gets 2. So as expected, Jason, who had a commanding lead throughout our game, has won, but let's hear how everybody else did. Kathy, rundown of the scores.
All right. In first place, Jason with 110 points. Gene got 107.
Oh,
Chip.
right behind you.
Got 102. Ryan got 92. And Shelley got 81.
Well, Jason, congratulations for being a repeat winner on Mind Meld, even though you're still mad about that hockey ruling.
I'm becoming ecumenical about hockey now. All hockey is great. Whatever.
All hockey,
Where
yes,
on grass,
excellent.
on ice,
Fire,
in space.
air,
I don't know.
air,
Wherever.
hockey.
Ooh,
Yeah.
But he's
space
still mad about the
Olympians to me.
Midwest.
The important thing here is that the game has changed how you think about hockey, about the Midwest, and about appliances. This has been Mind Meld. Thank you to my players. Thank you to my lovely scorekeeper, Kathy Campbell. And thank you, listeners, for listening. The end.
Because that's what you do as listeners.
It
Yes.
is, yeah. So,
They all live
listeners,
happily ever after.
if you enjoyed this, thank you for listening to the bootleg/live stream. If you feel like sending Tony some money, you can go to giveTonymoney.fun because Micah Sargent decided that it is fun to give me money. Micah,
It is.
a
It
much
is.
better advocate for Tony than Tony will ever be. So good job, everybody. You did it. I will say, I think it's always interesting to see that was a game with a lot of melds, and including some full melds. So it was a pretty high scoring game. Multiple people got into triple digits, which hasn't happened in a while. Was also possibly one of our more spread out scores than previous games. But you all did it. Good job.
Hooray!
It was entirely fun, and this really is
all about
a
the
damn
vibes.
good game, and it
Yeah.
It
goes
is
quickly. It's you've got something here, Tony. You got
Good
something.
job, Tony.
Fine.
Yeah,
My-
there was
my
something
favorite-
about
Yeah, Tony.
collaborating instead of trying to beat the crap out of people. It's like collaborating. We're all working together here. I'm sending brainwaves to Brian. I'm like, think of that scene, Brian. Think of that scene. You know that scene, right? That scene.
Camera
that's the scene.
swirly.
Now forget Hawkeye
Hockey.
Don't worry, everyone
or
does.
hockey.
My favorite part
Field
is still,
Hawkeye or ice Hawkeye? Which Hawkeye is it?
See, we
isn't
can
I-
share
I-
jokes too.
Ice Hawkeye. I think he's in the West Coast Avengers. I don't know. So-
He's in the Great Lakes
Great
Avengers,
Lakes,
actually.
Great Lakes.
Yeah,
Oh, not the Midwest.
Damn it. So much better. Yeah.
Great Lakes are in the Midwest.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you know?
So,
Now
I mean,
realized
yeah.
that
So,
the boys is missing a Norse god in their lineup.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they should
yeah.
add that. And then I would
Yeah.
have gotten Thor. I was like, I could think of Hawkeye, but I was like, I'm not picking Hawkeye.
no,
no way.
no one's
Yeah.
He's
picking
picking
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
No one's
Yeah,
picking
so-
Hawkeye. Not even Hawkeye is picking Hawkeye.
Shelly, I am impressed that you were able to easily get 5 canonical Avengers, having never
Mhm.
seen
Yeah.
an Avengers movie.
I mean,
That
I know
was
the
impressive.
names of things that I've never seen.
That's
A lot
right.
of
No,
those.
well done.
you know,
That's more
I
than
don't.
we did with
Yeah.
classical
They've had a
movies.
movie.
So
Yeah.
Why do you
They're
think
an
I didn't
Avenger.
pick the topic? Because
Yeah. Mm.
it would have been chaos. I would have been sad about
Mhm.
TCM again. And
Mhm.
Yep.
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 I apologize. I wrote the rounds before Media Empire started killing things. So
no, I love it. I was choosing against it was fun.
Mm.
Now, if it had been like classic movies or classic Avengers, I would have been like, oh, I'm dead.
all right. I think we can stop the live stream.
All right.